Okay, so back out in the old camper here, doing a little bit of restoration work and everything, but got a request for a video, so I thought I'd stop and take time to run through this real quick. Had, well, actually several people ask about how to learn to reload, reloading manuals, literature, that type of stuff. So really quickly, I'm just going to run through the manuals and, well, I guess welcome to book club. So, get started here after my coffee. Why do you need reloading manuals? What good are reloading manuals? What can you learn from reloading manuals? And why do you need more than one? So basically, to start it out in a nutshell, I am missing my spear. It is loaned out. By loaned out, I mean they came in when I wasn't home and borrowed it. But we've still got a good selection here to go through. I do recommend getting all the manuals from the major ones: Spear, Hornady, Sierra, Lyman if you like the cast bullet loads and obscure loads that you're not going to find a lot of in-depth load data for, like say 4570, but they've got the 45-110, the 50-110, a lot of your old black powder cartridges, just things that are obscure that most people don't shoot anymore, you can generally find in the Lyman. One of the reasons for getting different manuals from the different bullet manufacturers, if I had the spear here I could show you. Again, I'm like behind the camera trying to knock everything over, but well, that's pistol rifles. I was trying to get to the 44 section. Of course, I don't have this marked. Now, me personally, I do not refer to a manual very often. These are rather beat up and worn, not from me using them, just from getting moved around and other people junking with them. But, and especially for new reloaders, it's a good idea to consult the manual pretty much every time. The reason I don't use manuals, I've been doing this for so long. Again, I'm 48. I started loading when I was 5, so that's 43 years. But I started loading when I was 5. I had the Spear 7th edition, I believe. I'm not sure what they're up to now, probably the 30th or something. But when I started loading at the age of 5, by the time I was 7, I was developing my own loads in 38 357. Yeah, I've just, unless a brand new powder comes out that I've never tried, or it's a brand new caliber that's just on the market, then I'll consult the manual. For the old standbys, I pretty much work up my own loads, know what to work with. 30-30s, for example, I've got loads for 30-30s that aren't even in the books. They don't list running pistol powder in cast bullets for a 30-30. That's something I worked out on my own. But again, I digress. For you newbies, you always want to consult the manual. Follow the manual. Don't try to overload anything from the manual. Another reason for having multiple manuals, which again, let me get to it here. And again, when you get old, it's like, put the glasses on, take the glasses off. So I have to take the glasses off to see the camera, and then I have to put the glasses on to... Alright. Well, so One of the things here, I guess I can bring this up and maybe actually get it to where it's viewable. As you can see, different powders will list differently in different manuals. Taking the 44 for example here, 240 grain. This is the Hornady manual with the XTP. Now I ran 2400. Now in the 2400, it shows if I can get my camera to focus, apologize, 21.2 grains is max load for the 240 XTP. The spare manual for the 240 gives a different load. Now one of the reasons being, back in the old days, of course, everybody thought, well, a 240 is a 240, a 158 is a 158. Back then, you could pretty much get away with that, but now with the advent of the modern bullet technology and everything, different manufacturers have different jacket compositions. For example, Hornady in the XTP line, the reason you can't load a Hornady XTP with the same powder charge as, say, a Spear 240 Magnum hollow point is because, one, the Spear bullets are 429. Hornady, for some reason, runs XTPs at 430. So the bullet is 1/1000ths over what the Spear bullet is. That's going to increase pressure because there's more contact and more swagging. Also, the jacket composition is different. Your spare bullets are running the pretty much old style straight copper jacket. The Hornady XTPs, they're running an alloy jacket. You also get into things like gilding metal in your jacketing. So again, different bullets from different manufacturers will create different pressures. Also, back in the old days, it's like most of your hand loading manual charges were kept down below your SAMI specs, below your max pressure thresholds for safety reasons. And that's why they always say, start 10% below max. And I still say it to this day, doesn't matter what book you have, what bullets you're running, never start out at the max charge. Always start low, work your way up. So, again, the reason for having different manuals is different manuals will list different charges for specific bullets. So here's my Sierra manual. One of the graps I have is this crap right here. It's kind of a pain to flip through and get back to. Also the pages. Now I haven't been through. I've had to get the little binder reinforcements, you know, the little stick-on thingies with the hole in them for the pages I use most often, but as you see, this is what happens with the Sierra manual. One of my big gripes. I'll go through and do all my pages someday. But, well, actually, I just automatically flipped open to it. There's the 223 data. Alright, 223, of course, this is for 223 bolt action. I won't get into the charges and everything. It's not what we're here for. Just stating different things on the manuals. Let's take, for example, the loads that I'm loading. In the 223, I load a 55 grain Hornady soft point with cantilure. Well, I guess I could show you that. I do have that one marked. The Hornady manual, and again, I have a rubber band holding my cell phone onto the tripod, so I'm having a hard time seeing around the stupid rubber band on the screen. But if you notice here, TAC is the powder that I use for all my 223s. As you see on tack, for the 55 grains, max load is 24/7. Well, that covers all these bullets. This, if I can get it up here, is the particular bullet that I'm loading. The 2266 soft point. That is my deer load. If y'all seen the other videos, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, you got the VMAX. You got the SPSX, which is basically the super explosive bullets. They blow on contact. Even though they're soft point, they have a thinner jacket. So anyway, there's 5 different bullets in the 55 grain category that they list at. And for all of them, they give a max charge of 24/7. Well, guess I can get to the Sierra here. And again, Sierra is one of the few that actually breaks it down into bolt action versus AR-15 loads. Again, sorry, I'm making this long. But, alright, so AR-15 loads. Now, here is the 55 grain loadings for Sierra. And you see the different bullets they show. Of course, they're showing varmint loads, the Blitz, the SMP. Get this out of my rubber band way here. But they also show the Game King and the Blitz King. So they show Blitz and Blitz King. Yes, that's 2 separate bullets. However, if we go to TAC, the Sierra manual shows a max charge of TAC at 26.3. So why does the Hornady manual show 24.7 at max, while the Sierra manual shows 26.3? This is for the Sierra bullets. Sierra bullets have different jacket thicknesses, profiles, hardnesses, antimonies. They create different pressures. I have actually worked up the loads with the Hornadies up to not quite 26.3. For my deer loads, I was running 25.5 with the Hornady bullet, which is well over the max of 24.7. And I was starting to get the pressure signs, another video, but everything was working out okay. But I was getting pressure signs at 25.5. I basically dropped back to 25 grains because I'm more about accuracy and shot placement with a 223 on whitetail, for example. Because I've dropped the deer this past season. One shot I made was 467 yards on a 6-point buck. Dropped it in its tracks. Didn't even twitch. Dropped a fairly small doe, 367 yards. Dropped in its tracks. Didn't even twitch. So, I'm not worried about 100 feet per second on trying to squeeze out the most. I want accuracy and shot placement. And yes, in a small caliber pistol or something, 100 feet per second means a whole lot. As Paul Hare would say, you know, is it a lot? Maybe. Depends on your caliber and your velocity. When you're up into over the 2,000, 2,500 feet per second, an extra 100 feet per second really isn't that much. It's more about shot placement than, hey, let me squeeze another 100 feet per second out. But again, I digress. This is about the manuals and what you can learn from them. So, but that illustrates why you want different manuals, especially if you're running different bullets, different manufacturers. It gives you a better baseline. Again, I'm not real big on Lyman products. We'll get into that later. But Lyman has a lot of obscure calibers. For example, in the 3030 Winchester, none of the other books list lead bullet loads for the 3030. Now, of course, I'm running 115 grain hard cast lead bullets in the 3030 at 2400 feet per second. So I basically ran off the 110 jacketed because I know that I'm running a heavy tensile strength and I can get away with that. Here's 30 M1 carbine loads for lead bullets, even up to 130 grains. Not something you're going to find in other manuals. Get into the pistol stuff. Well, of course, we've got 9mm. Again, lots of lead load data. .32 automatic with lead loads. You're not going to find that in any other manual. So again, that's where different manuals come into play. Okay, so types of manuals. Lyman, not a bullet manufacturer, not a powder manufacturer. They make and sell molds, other types of reloading equipment and everything. But it works good as a general book. Even though Lyman doesn't make bullets, Lyman makes molds, so that's another reason you have so many cast bullet loads in the Lyman. If you're going to hand load, you're going to cast, Lyman's a good manual to have. Sierra, bullet manufacturer. All these loads listed in the Sierra manual, which is a big manual. These are all with Sierra bullets. They were tested by Sierra at the Sierra factory for pressure, different powder burns, different powders. Again, the Hornady, with the Hornady bullets, there's a lot of powders that Hornady does not list for use that Sierra lists. For example, 243. Again, I just remember these off the top of my head, so 243 in any of the Hornady bullets does not list RL-19 powder in any loads for the 243. Sierra manual lists RL-19 powder as preferred powder for several of their bullets, i.e. the 85 grain Game King Hollow Point Bucktail. They list RL-19 as one of the preferred powders as far as velocity. That's not the two that they list exactly for accuracy or hunting, but it's in the same velocity spec as the other powders, where again Hornady does not list RL-19. 444 Marlin. I'm running the 444 Marlin loads off the spare manual, which lists 10X powder. In the 444 for the Hornady, there's no mention of 10X. So different books will give you different listings for different powders. Now they say, well, we only list these powders because these are what we consider to be optimum performance. Well, again, different companies, different books will say this is optimal powder, where the other one says, no, this is optimal powder. It gives you a little bit of leeway to be able to use what powder you have. So again, the Hornady, the Sierra, the Spear, those are bullet manufacturers. They're going to list loads developed with their bullets. Another thing, and these are generally free. These aren't exactly cheap, but this is the, that's the 8th edition. I think my buddy's up to the 12th now, maybe. I got this one off of him, I believe in 2010. No, he got it, I think, in 2010. In 2012, they came out with the 9th edition. So, anyway, I got his hand-me-downs. But these are generally free. And as you see, that's 2017. I need to call and get another one. This is the Alliant powder guide. Now, the reason I got this, it's really hard to find shotgun load data. But this lists all the different shotgun load datas for the Alliant powder, which is 99.9% of what I use in shotguns is all Alliant. Unique, blue dot, that's pretty much all I use. Everybody else uses red dot, green dot. I stick to unique. However, it shows all your different loads here. Green dot 2028 unique. It shows the different loads broken down by category, by types of shells. Winchester AA plastics. Also gives you a powder chart list in the front. Remington plastic shells, STS, Nitro, 27, all those. Generally, you just call up the company and say, hey, can you send me the new reloader guide? They'll send you a new reloader guide out. So, again, well, why have the manuals? You can just get online and look up the loads. Well, for the newbies that was asking me, not only do you have your load data and loads, again, I'll try to do this without knocking the camera over, but the fronts of the books has pretty much everything you need to know. This gets into talking about pressure differences. Bullet seating depth. If you seat the bullet too far into the case, you're going to reduce case capacity, you're going to spike the pressure, or you're going to up the pressure. If you seat the bullet out too far, and it doesn't have a running jump, i.e. the freeboard to hit the riflings, if you set it against the riflings, it's going to spike the pressure because there's going to be more resistance. All this types of stuff. So for the people asking, what's the best way to learn to reload? Where can I get literature? Pretty much your literature is in your reloading manual. Case length measurement. Just go through a few here. Sizing, priming, what to look for. Different types of dies, what they do. All in here. So the entire front of pretty much all the loading manuals tells you how to figure ballistic coefficient. Thing I like about the Hornady manual is it does list all the different bullets by caliber, weight, and actually gives a velocity range that they are meant for. So that tells you this bullet is made to perform between this velocity and that velocity. If it's a hollow point and it's under that velocity, well, it's not going to expand. If it's a hollow point and it's over that velocity, well, it's going to frag. Things like that. It's just a all-around good general guide. And then again, we get into your different loads with your different powders. Same thing with Sierra. Again, I hate this thing, but it's what I got. Well, let me try to show this is the history of Sierra. At least this has flippy tabbies, ballistic services. Tells you all the difference about your ballistics and all that neat stuff. And there goes my pages that I didn't. This gives you a guide to the Sierra bullets. It tells you what they are, what they're meant for, specific applications, reloading equipment and tools, the cartridge case, and this breaks it down from the start. What the case is and what the case is for. Yet again, there's another one I'm going to have to fix. Get it later. Reloading equipment and tools gives you all the different powder burn rates. That's a real handy thing to have, is if you don't know the different powder burn rates for the different powders and types of powders. Case preparation, shell holders. So anyway, you get the gist. As I said, I was asked, where can you actually learn how to do this, who has videos on it. Of course, you're watching this video, so you know I have videos on it. Which again, hopefully BoobTube's not going to start slashing our vids again. But we do have the Patreon account. There's a lot more that we have on the Patreon. We are getting more videos uploaded finally. So check out our Patreon. But basically, in a nutshell, this is why you want multiple manuals, what each manual does, and, well, I guess that's pretty much about it. So get as many manuals as you can, especially if you're going to be using different bullets from different manufacturers, because, yes, there is a difference in load data for the same weight bullets from different companies. There is different load data, and if I had my spear here, I could show you, because that brings up another good point. There is different load data for the same weight bullets of the same manufacturer. For example, the Spear TNT 55 grain varmint bullet has a completely different load than the Spear 55 grain full metal jacket or soft point. One of the reasons being is the Spear TNT is a varmint bullet. It's made to blow on contact. It has very thin jacket walls. It's also not meant to be driven at certain velocities in certain twist rates of rifles. In other words, say you're shooting a Remington 700 223 varmint special with a 1 in 10 twist. Spear TNT at max velocity will be perfectly fine. If you try to put that same load in an AR with a 1 in 7, then what happens is that centrifugal force, as that bullet is coming out the barrel, it'll stay together in the barrel, but the centrifugal force from the extra spin at those velocities, as soon as that bullet exits the barrel, the centrifugal force actually causes the bullet to tear itself apart. So you can't use the same load data for a Spear TNT as you can for a Spear FMJ or a Spear soft point. So again, try to get the manuals for the bullets you're loading. I know, like I said, manuals aren't exactly cheap, but generally you can always get the one behind, because they usually drop the prices really low when they come out with the new edition. They generally come out with the new editions when they have so many more calibers, like well, this lists 6.5 Creedmoor. The edition before this did not list 6.5 Creedmoor. This does not list 6.5 Creedmoor because it's too old of a manual. But generally, you can get the step-down version of the manual. In other words, if they come out with a 12th edition, you can buy the 11th edition cheaper. But if you need the new manual for the new updated loads because you have the new latest greatest, yeah, spend the $30 and get the new manual. But it's a good idea, again, to have different manuals. I always try to get the ones from the powder manufacturer too, because I will cross-reference, even though this lists Alliant powders, when I go to load, if it's an obscure something I've never loaded for, 455 Webley, then I will cross-reference the powder data in here with the powder charge data in here. It gives me a good starting point. Again, don't try to start out at max loads. Start out at minimum of 10% under max loads. You also have to watch your minimum loads. Again, they list the minimum loads for a reason. Me, I have worked my loads down. 45, for example, I'm shooting the 200 grain hard cast tumble bullets. The minimum listed load in the book is 4.1 grains tight group. I've actually stepped them all the way down to 3 grains of tight group. They cycle the action just fine. I don't have to worry about them getting stuck in the barrel. They do cycle the action, and they're decently accurate. They're not as accurate as 3.7 or 4 grains tight group, but you're good, easy plinking loads. So, again, pay attention to your minimum loads, because I have actually worked these down by tenths of a grain to get down to where I have that they're functional and they're safe. If you underload, that's again the reason they have minimum loads. Also, different barrel lengths. Longer the barrel, the more powder you have to get that bullet out the end of the barrel without having to squib load or get it stuck in the barrel. So pay attention to minimum loads. So for the newbies out there, again, don't drop under minimum. Don't start out at maximum. Get different manuals. Read the different manuals. You want to learn about bullet sizing? It's in the manual. You want to learn about pressure signs? It's in the manual. You want to learn about the difference between full length sizing and neck sizing? It's in the manual. So, don't put your trust in a lot of these internet folks and all that kind of stuff. Stick to hard literature. I just like books anyway. You know, what happens if my phone's out, my power is down, and I can't get online to look up something? Hey, let me go to the cabinet. I got it right here. So, I am a firm believer in hard literature instead of digital. Plus, they're just fun to read. And for y'all weirdos out there, hey, this is our bathroom reading material. So with that, I'll sign off. Any questions, leave the comments down below. Try to comment on the videos if you can, because that changes our ratio. I know we're not searchable under anything on YouTube. You can't even search and find us. Like and share. We're trying to get the channel back up and running and start actually getting more content out there. Check out our Patreon. There's a lot of the reloading stuff on Patreon that we cannot put on YouTube. So that is Patreon specific. I'll try to leave a link in the description down here, or pin it in the comments. I guess I should probably pin it in the comments, because they don't like us to put links in the descriptions. So I'll pin it in the comments. But check out our Patreon. There's a lot of stuff that we have on the Patreon that we cannot put on YouTube. So hopefully YouTube won't gank this video. You know, how to reload, which we're not actually doing. You know, we'll see how it works out. But anyway, that's the loading manual, whys, what fors, and why you need and how to. So leave some comments down at the bottom if you have any questions or anything. Appreciate y'all, and have a good day.